Welcome once again to Noah Snark, where two former religious types and current snarks take a look at religious media on its own terms.
I'm Hillary.
And I am Josh, a.k.a. 3-Point Monty.
Nice.
Alright, so before we go on, as we always do, we have to talk about any hits and or misses we want to mention.
I don't believe I have any. I just checked this and I already forgot. No, I have nothing.
I also have nothing.
Cool.
Because
we're perfect and awesome.
We're perfect and awesome. Let's see, anything I might want to point out. Real quick memories.
Have you listened to the new one yet?
I did.
What'd you think?
You liked it.
It's pretty good.
It was okay. It was like that. We were funny. We're so cute.
I posted that at 5 this morning. Did you see that?
No.
You want to know why? Because I fell asleep right before I posted it. I actually, not gonna lie, I woke up at 5 a.m. on top of my computer.
Oh, that's funny. You were so close.
And I'm like, oh my god! And they're like, panic.
Yeah.
Post. And fell back asleep.
It happens.
But I edited it so long ago. I got it done last week, and then in my head I had finished. Done, complete. Just never posted it.
It happens. I've done it too.
Yeah, so that was my fun story for the morning.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm awake, I swear. Alright. So, since we have nothing that we missed, because we're amazing, except you missed the deadline, you son of a bitch.
Barely. 2 hours. Nobody was even awake yet.
We've had 85 episodes, and we've missed 2 deadlines.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
pretty good.
We're less than 20 away from our 100, our big 100 episode.
And. Those 2 deadlines weren't even a day. They were a few hours.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's amazing.
So that's our hit.
Not gonna lie, this is not, in my character to be consistent about anything.
This regimented.
Right, yeah.
So that's gonna be our hit this week.
Yeah.
Just the fact that we've completely nailed 80-something episodes of a show that has released on the day it's supposed to every week for the past however long.
Hey, we deliver.
And we've missed a few hours here and there. That's nothing.
I think we deserve a drink.
We'll get one.
Trivia.
Alright, so let's talk about what we're doing today instead. What are we doing, ma'am?
We are doing a movie called Hoovey.
A movie called Hoovey.
The dumbest name of a movie.
Well, you should know going in.
Yeah.
And as you know, I write my notes in real time, so I don't go back and edit them, typically.
Okay.
I know nothing about this, and chose it because it was relatively short.
Amazing.
I just know that basketball was involved.
What was it, 90 minutes?
Yeah.
More than that? Yeah.
96 minutes.
Gotcha.
I was so sick of watching movies that were 2.5 hours long about bullshit.
Yes.
So I was like, what's short?
I like how you make decisions. I just want to let you know that.
Because I
appreciate these decisions that you make for us.
Yeah, remember Joseph and the King of Dreams?
Yes, perfect.
The movie was 75 minutes. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's sad because it makes me think I like these movies.
Yeah.
Because comparatively, I'm like, I'm not so angry.
But then stuff like Do You Believe?
Oh my
God. Some other movie, it's 2.5 hours.
The 70s ones.
I'm like, oh my God, I'd rather die.
Prodigal Planet.
They only got longer. As they ran out of plot, they got longer somehow.
Yeah, it's like Harry Potter, but instead of getting longer because it's more information and it's better, it's longer and worse.
Yeah. It's the fucking weirdest thing. Because the first one of those was tolerable in its shortness.
Until we found out it was completely unnecessary.
Right. Alright, but let's talk about Hoovey. I know basketball's involved, so at least there's going to be a basketball movie.
Yeah.
And as always, we have to describe it in one sentence.
Okay.
Are you prepared?
I am prepared.
Go for it.
I said, a 90-minute advertisement for universal healthcare.
Holy shit! There's a constant theme in my notes about that.
Oh, gorgeous.
But my one sentence is not that. It is a movie based on a true story. And it shows, because honestly, it's incredibly boring a lot of the time.
Yes, it is.
Just like life in real Illinois.
It's so true. No shades, Illinois. I've never been to you. Yeah. And I've always wanted to go to Chicago. But we're not rural people, you and I.
This movie takes place in rural Illinois.
Yeah.
Where
people care about things that I don't care about.
People care about a lot of stuff.
I just
Everyone
don't care.
knows each other. And you can die if you are outside for a couple of seconds unsupervised.
Yeah, and people from Atlanta are mean.
They'll kill you if you're left outside. You won't die on your own. But let's just go ahead and push through it while we talk about the constant theme of universal healthcare, because it is present here.
It really is. They're never discussed, really.
Yeah, they never mention anything.
You know those people voted Republican.
Absolutely. It's rural Illinois.
Uh-huh.
I can't say
Rural.
Rural.
Rural juror.
Rural.
Did you ever see 30 Rock?
No.
There's an episode where one of the women is in a movie called The Rural Juror, and it's the joke. It's very funny.
The Rural Juror.
Rural Juror. Rural Juror.
Rural Junior. It's
No.
easier.
Yeah, but it's not what it's called, so.
Sorry, let's move on to this movie.
Okay.
The movie opens with a muddled microphone telling us to give a warm welcome to some woman whose name you can't understand due to the poor mic and the sweeping music playing over it.
Yeah.
She's giving a speech to a very large crowd, and presumably, very large crowd.
I heard lard crowd.
It's because that's what I said.
Uh-huh.
Presumably, this will be relevant. I just had to assume. I didn't know.
Okay.
The good news is, I watch everything captioned, so I can tell you that her name is Ruth. But we're just going to call her
Lauren
Mom.
Holly. Oh.
Yes, Lauren Holly.
Isn't she Jim Carrey's ex-wife?
I don't know if she's his ex-wife. She was the Dumb and Dumber lady.
She was a Dumb and Dumber lady. I think they met on that set, and I think they either dated for a long time or were married.
Okay.
That's just a fun fact about Lauren Holly, because I used to know too much about Jim Carrey.
Okay, cool.
Let's go on.
Let's move on. This is going to be the mom of the movie.
Yes.
Her name is Ruth, but we're going to call her Mom, because why would she have a name?
Yep.
And she gives a speech about how life maybe didn't even begin until she had her first baby.
I guess.
She's like, my life was cool, but you know what? When it really started? Babies.
Yeah, she's lost me already.
So now we get a retrospect.
Oh, speaking of that, my mom's been going through old pictures and trying to organize and stuff. Mm-hmm. She found a picture of me being presented with my baby cousin and refusing to hold the child. It was like me as like a 5-year-old. Like so I had thrown my arms back, was like laying against the couch, and my mom's trying to hand me my cousin. I was having none of it. Mm-hmm. She's like, we should have listened to you when you told us who you were.
Mm-hmm. I have never held a baby.
Ever?
Nope.
Yeah, I have. I just don't enjoy it.
One of the recurring themes on our trip in Lexington was talking about the stuff I haven't done. Because, like, what had I not done? Something pretty mundane.
Yeah.
It's just like I'd never done it. And they're like, you've never done that? I was like, nope, never done that. And so we all started talking about stuff we'd never done.
It's like that episode of It's Always Sunny where they found out that he's never had strawberries, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've never had a strawberry. Nope.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, I'd never... I don't remember. But the point is, just minor stuff, not anything major.
Right.
And then I remember the return trip, Harmony mentioned that she had almost suggested that we all go skinny dipping, because the place we had a pool. Mm-hmm. And so I remember the last one I said was, never been skinny dipping.
I've been skinny dipping many times.
Never done it. I don't know, it's just one of those things.
I don't really see that. Yeah, it's whatever.
I mean, clearly it wasn't so pressing a concern that she mentioned it, so it's just one of those things that sprung to mind.
In the same pile of old things, we found like a 6th grade or 7th grade assignment from me that asked me, it was like, what are your greatest fears? And I said death. I think it was death, natural disasters, and my brother getting stronger.
And now he's stronger than you, but you guys get along.
And probably immediately after that, because he spurted up very quickly overnight. And I was very small.
All right, sorry, let's get on the stupid movie.
Okay.
She gives a retrospective about, her life and the baby being born and her husband and all that stuff. And it's not terribly interesting, but basically they got married and they had a couple kids. And one of those kids is nicknamed Hoovey, and he plays basketball real good. Mm-hmm. The other girl, the girl, I should say, she is also an athlete, but in a different way. She's a runner, typically.
Yeah, she's the lesser child.
She's the lesser child. But in my heart, she's my favorite. I'll tell you why. You may know.
I don't know, but she was my favorite too, actually.
Yes. So she speechifies over scenes of him basketballing, and then he hits his head on the ground during a play when he's more grown. He's a teenager.
Yeah.
So she tells us life can change in a heartbeat, and there's not a lot of cushion on that floor, and then it all comes down to faith. And now we're on the family farm/ranch, and Patrick freaking Warburton is Hoovey's dad.
And he is why this is a tolerable film. Mm-hmm. I adore him.
I mean, if you don't know who he is, he's the Tick, Elaine's boyfriend, that guy from that David Spade show, Brock freaking Sampson.
Kronk,
and the Tick.
The Tick, though. I fucking love the live action Tick.
That's why I mentioned it twice.
Yes.
It was hilarious.
The Tick.
The new Tick, not as good as old Tick, I have to say.
Haven't seen it, don't care.
Yeah. Alright, but he's really cool, and him and Hoovey, who's a our main character and a teenager, are playing basketball for a few minutes while mom and sister do similar family stuff inside. Because like we mentioned, sister's a runner. And she's thinking of giving it up. So she says, Mom, I'm thinking of giving this up. Mom's like, okay, I don't care that much.
I mean,
I mean, they want her to, like, do what she wants, but also, like, so?
Right.
And this is going to come up, but the sister is my favorite child, not only because she's better than Hoovey, but because she is the little girl from the Missy Elliott video, or Mike's Super Short.
Shut up! Are you serious? Oh my god. Her face kind of looked familiar.
Yeah, that's why. That's her grown-up face.
Oh my god, what's the song called?
Work It. She was also made a Step Up movie or something like that, one of those dance movies, because she's a dancer. But the little girl is the best because she is that little girl, and that's pretty cool. This thing is star-frickin' Patrick
really
Warburton, Allison Stoner, that's her name, and what's the other lady? Jim Carrey's ex?
Oh, Lauren Holly.
Lauren Holly.
Yeah.
And then Hoovey, whoever he is.
Hoovey looks exactly like the lead singer from Something Corporate, Andrew McMahon. He's famous now for his, like, own band, I guess. I don't know. Andrew McMahon and the Somethings. They sing a song I hate.
I don't know who that is.
Whatever.
Okay. But while sister and mom are having a discussion about quitting running, Hoovey is outside playing basketball and he gets some visual distortion and he gets knocked over. So dad's going to get his eyes checked. That's what they're going to do today before the first day of school. So
Even though it's so clearly neurological.
But, I mean, theoretically, he doesn't know that. He's just like, I don't know, my eyes are weird.
Well, he says his eyes are weird, but then, like, he has no balance. Like, that's not eyeballs.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. That bothered me.
One could maybe make the argument, if they don't know that much, because I might, because I don't know that much about eyes and neurological stuff, is, you know, if you get double vision like that because your vision's bad, you might get, like, vertigo because it's all weird.
Maybe.
And then you just fall over because you're like, fuck, I don't know.
I guess I'll lay down.
Yeah. Well, like, you get unbalanced because your eyes are, you're just like, what? Here I go, down. So I can see it, but also, yes.
Like Jessica Day.
Yeah, but it's also a big deal. You should probably look into it. Jessica Day.
Jessica Day from New Girl.
Oh,
She's
that's
like when
right.
she just like falls over for no reason.
Yeah. When she was even kookier than...
Right, in the beginning.
All right, but they head inside before they take Hoovey to the doctor. And Dad forbids sister from quitting running just yet because the season isn't over and she's got a whole team relying on her. And in this family, they don't quit.
Yeah.
We don't quit in the Hoovey family. And I don't know what the last names are. But she's not really happy about it, but she does seem to acquiesce. She's just like, all right, fine. Maybe when I quit running, I'll just run away from home. And he's like, good, do it.
Yeah. He's like, that's a whole lot of running for someone who doesn't want to run.
Yeah, it was.
And it was a terrible joke.
Yeah.
But because it's Patrick Warburton, it's okay.
Yeah, it's charming. Because
Sure.
he's the most charming man.
He's a very charming man and such a dad.
So Hoovey gets glasses, and he's gifted his grandfather's cross from his dad to help him focus on the important things.
Right, a necklace.
And this is basketball tryout day. So Hoovey does some practicing, and we meet Coach, who expresses the importance of the word we when they are on a team. There is no I in team, right?
Right, but there is me.
And there is a me. And at least one kid is apparently gunning for Hoovey's position, and he doesn't seem interested in Coach's words. We find out that this is the Coach's nephew, Donovan, who was staying with him for a while because he ran into some trouble back home.
We never learn what that is, and it bothers me.
We learn a little bit, just not exactly what it is.
Right.
But this tiny town clearly takes basketball far too seriously, because after the tryout scene, the next scene is everyone asking Coach about the tryouts, like at some sort of local event where even the mayor is there.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, and Coach is like, I don't talk about tryouts. It's like...
You got your football towns, you got your basketball towns.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't belong to any of those towns.
And to emphasize how seriously everybody takes the stupid basketball, even if it's really good basketball, it's just basketball. It's high school basketball.
Right.
You're going to be okay. Just move on. Find something else to do.
Yeah, I don't enjoy watching basketball, but I do like playing.
Yeah. But even the local pastor who is blessing over the proceedings or whatever, who's also Stephen fucking Baldwin.
He's everywhere in our lives now.
He only makes Christian movies.
If it wasn't for this podcast, I wouldn't even know that he was still alive.
I can't distinguish him from any of the other Baldwins except for Alec.
I always could, but that's just because of Biodome.
Daniel and Stephen. Tell me the difference. No one knows. But we could probably do it now because we've seen Stephen's face so much.
I don't know what Daniel looks like, but I'm guessing a lot like Stephen.
But anyway, even the pastor, who's supposed to be doing, town stuff. He's like, hey, coach, you're going to tell us about the try. It's like, who fucking cares? There's like 30 people in town.
Right.
They're all going to make it. They're all on the team.
What are you talking about? There's only 15 uniforms, Josh.
Yeah,
you got to earn it.
20 kids trying out. Okay, sorry, I'm done. Anyway, we do learn that Donovan is from Atlanta, and again, he was in trouble. And at the next day of tryouts, Hoovey gets a really bad headache, and he doesn't seem able to focus, and Donovan runs circles around him because he is a good player.
Yeah.
He's just a bad attitude. Mm-hmm. He's troubled youth.
Yeah.
He's from Atlanta,
He's
which
a
you know
hoodlum
is a hellhole.
from the inner city.
As we've learned from Christian movies,
Yeah.
Atlanta is a hellscape.
Yeah. And it makes, like, seeing these people's point of view explains everyone's reaction to me in my neighborhood when I told them I was going to school in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're like, which college are you going to? I'm like, Georgia State. They're like, downtown?
They just think you get stabbed.
They're just like, you're just going to go get raped every day? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, people are
made
weird
that choice.
about
Yeah,
cities.
I didn't expect it. Everybody freaked out. They're like, you got to be so. Oh my gosh, be so safe.
You know what's funny when you think about it? The rural perspective of the city,
Yeah,
like you see in movies.
Yes,
because movies typically have a perspective, even if they pretend they don't. Right? This is a small town movie about small towns, and then there's small town movies about cities, and there's big town movies about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The media representation of cities is completely wrong.
Yes.
Especially if they have a rural perspective, like Pastor Brother White.
Brother White.
Where, like, he's from a sort of lesser town, and he comes to Atlanta, and it's just like, this is fucking crazy, I'm gonna die! And even this sort of at least implies that this Atlanta is particularly dangerous or something. But the perspective I have of the country, and I am a little country, so I know it in person too, but because I grew up in the suburbs of Georgia, so like, there's a little bit country in there. And I have
family in actual farms.
Right. But the perspective of the country is more accurate. It's weird. Because they represent it exactly as boring as it really is.
They really do.
Even from their own perspective. They're like, no, it's just like this.
Yeah, but in their, like, everything's heightened a little bit because in their minds, they're like, this is like the craziest story I've ever heard.
Right, like no one's racist.
Right, no one's racist. Yes.
Like, yeah, you live in rural Indiana.
No, yeah, it is a little sterilized. Yeah.
But it's still,
a lot less meth in the movies.
Right. But it's just strange because, to be fair, when I think of the country, I don't necessarily think of meth.
I do.
It's in there.
Yeah.
Like, you say meth, I'm like, oh yeah.
Big problem.
There is meth.
Meth and heroin. Big problems right now. But
it's just one of those things that's interesting because, like, I think it might emphasize a point I often make about the conservative mindset, that they often run on fear.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
And when they look at a city, they're like, oh, scary. But, like, the country, nice and beautiful.
You know what I see when I see country? Yeah. A lot of places to hide bodies. Lots of body dump sites.
But then if you take
vast forests, what nobody's been into in a long time. Abandoned mines.
But if you take the liberal Hollywood perspective, they often get the country more or less right.
Yeah.
Not less, I should say, not any more incorrect than the rural perspective gets itself.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Still sterilized.
Right. But, like, not any more so than they themselves do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, it's wrong.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But it's not
Hollyweird's not making up a weird rural, like, gotcha.
But the opposite of Hollyweird makes up with this bizarre notion of cities.
Right.
Even The Masked Saint, a movie, a Christian movie about a city. The dude lives in a city, and he can just run around town and find people mugging and raping, and he drop kicks them and saves them with wrestling. It's
human trash pandas everywhere.
Yeah. Or Do You Believe was in Detroit, and just criminals run around looking for a guy with a cross so they can threaten to shoot him. Like, that doesn't happen.
No. Having lived in and around Atlanta for the majority of my life, and that's even when I was in the suburbs, I moved back to Atlanta as soon as I could. I've seen one shooting.
Yeah. Like,
and it wasn't that scary.
Yeah, it does happen. It was
really annoying because they had to tape off my car, but...
Yeah, it does happen. I'm just saying, like...
Yeah.
I feel like the perspectives, one is very clearly usually more wrong.
Right.
All right.
I don't have to walk the streets, like, with a knife out.
This was not my most artful point, but I just randomly had this idea.
Go.
All right, so we are talking about Hoovey. He's gotten a really bad headache, and Donovan has crushed him at the tryouts this time. And if it wasn't obvious to us before, it's clear now that Hoovey's not just in need of glasses. So, because he collapses and he starts screaming in pain, and so Dad rushes him off to the hospital. and they drive through the snow a bit too quickly. Dad said, the ambulance would take half an hour because it's really snowy outside.
Right.
So he's just going to drive them.
And it's important to note, he's a fireman, so he has these kind of skills.
Right. He's also decent at driving in the snow.
Also, he's ginormous. His son's like a big dude. He's tall. He carries his son.
Patrick Warburton is massive.
Massive.
He's a big man.
He carries him like a child.
I would never noticed how tall he was.
I didn't either until this movie. I made note of it.
No, also, Patrick Warburton I knew was big. I didn't notice how tall the kid was.
Oh.
Because he doesn't look...
Comparatively, you mean? No, I got you.
He looks tiny. It's like, you get all your height from your mom's side. But anyway, he eventually drives too fast, and he skids out, and he gets stuck in a ditch in the snow. And so, just in time, while he's trying to work his way out of the snow, Mom calls. And so Dad quickly explains a little bit, and he tells her to get the tractor to help dig him out of the ditch. But she says, "It's so cold, it'll never start." And he yells at her to at least try, damn it. He doesn't say damn it.
Yeah.
He's like, "At least try." And so now the big drama is whether the tractor will start. And as she starts to try to stick her with the tractor, and it doesn't seem to be working, 3 mysterious men appear from out of the snow.
Magic lumberjacks are just in the middle of a field.
Magic lumberjacks show up, and they help push the truck out of the ditch. And if the mysterious circumstance wasn't obvious enough, Mom's framing narration makes it clear that we are supposed to believe that they are angels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She quotes the Bible, something about angels being among us, something like that. And then Patrick Warburton looks back to thank the guys, and they're gone. In the middle of a blizzard, they're just gone.
They just jumped into the snow pile.
Right. I love that idea.
I want this to be a thing.
They just, like, he turned around, they rolled into a ditch, and we're just, like, giggling. Yeah. Where did they come from? Why are they so smiley? They're in negative degree weather.
Mm-hmm. She also points out that it's a very small town. Everyone knows everybody.
Right.
He's a firefighter. He knows everybody.
I think they're magic criminals that were just coming from their body drop.
He's never seen them. So.
Yeah, they didn't want any more attention than they already got.
They didn't talk about that part in the spring when the snow goes away.
Yeah.
When they found that body in the same field.
They didn't. No, that's in the sequel.
That's in the sequel. The murder mystery that Hoovey solves with basketball.
Well, he can't play basketball anymore, spoiler alert, so now he's a detective.
No, I think he plays and he beats them. That's how he gets information. It's like, hey, you know something. He's like, yeah? Well, if you're gonna learn it, you're gonna have to beat me.
Play me for it.
Play me for it. So Hoovey just goes, woo.
Fine, we'll spot you 9. 10-point lead, cake, or 9.
Oh, 3 Ninjas joke. Did not see that coming.
It always comes to my head whenever boys play basketball. What is that?
9-point lead.
Cake.
I love that movie.
We'll play you for it. Girlfriend's bike. Sorry.
So we're now at the hospital, and we are told that Hoovey has a big old tumor at the base of his skull. And while it's not yet clear if it's malignant, it's got to come out either way. But any kind of brain surgery has pretty substantial risks and could send him into a coma. Or just straight up kill him.
Right.
But if they don't try, he's definitely going to die anyway. So the family sort of gets prepared and to deal with the fact that they got to take their chance, shoot your shot, And, of course, Hoovey does wake up, and he realizes that it's a tumor. This is before the surgery. He's just like, it's a tumor, isn't it? Dad's like, yeah. And he's like, I knew it. Son of a bitch, I knew it. But he's like...
Thought my brain felt fat.
But he's like, at least it explains why I've been playing so badly. And he says he's comfortable even if he does die because he knows where he's headed if he does. Hell.
Yep,
definitely. So good old-fashioned hell with the rest of the cool kids. But anyway, everyone is very upset and they're trying to cope with the fact that he may not ever wake up. And the surgery scene follows and we wait dramatically while we find out if he's alive or dead. And the doctor arrives and he pulls his mask off dramatically and he says, Hoovey's fine. And the tumor itself was benign, which is pretty great. But... we had to remove a section of bone from Hoovey's skull, and he can't ever play sports basically ever again, because it will fill in with scar tissue and stuff, but if he gets a solid blow to the head, he'll just die.
Yeah, it's like an off switch. He has a button on his head.
I actually knew a guy like this.
Really?
Yeah. It was on the top of his head.
I was gonna say, is it where the hole is where infants, and sometimes it doesn't grow back in? Yep, I've heard of that.
Yep, I knew a guy like that. So we were always really careful
not
to hit him in the
button.
head. Just, good job.
Lights out.
Yeah, but we were always very careful don't hit his head.
A bully in 7th grade killed a kid punching him in the back of the head in my school.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the city was dangerous.
Yeah. This is Woodstock, Georgia.
I know.
A hellscape.
No kids in my school died, I'm just saying.
Oh man, we dropped like flies after we graduated too. We've lost like 3 to cancer, like 2 to 4 of heroin overdoses, 2 car wrecks. Yeah, we're, like, haunted.
We had no deaths. Now, the other 2 schools in my district had deaths. Mm-hmm. The richer school had drug problems.
Oh, yeah, we had drug problems,
killed a couple people. And then the other school was a little more violent, and so a couple people got killed there.
Yeah.
My school, somehow, was the safe place.
We
you would not think that going in, but it was.
Ours was nicknamed Ghetto-Wah, so... Etowah High School. Shout out. Fuck off.
Alright, anyway. On the way home, Dad can't bring himself to tell Hoovey that he can't play sports ball anymore, and Hoovey is clearly a little impaired, but is in otherwise good spirits. He's really stubborn about being cared for, especially by his sister, even though she's just trying to be good. And he's like, I'm trying to tell you, I'm gonna do them myself. And he's like, shut up, you suck.
I like that their dynamic makes sense. Like,
it does.
They have a good dynamic. Yes. Like, one that makes sense brother and sister wise.
Yeah, rather than, like, the weird version of siblings where they're always, like, bickering and sort of tickling each other. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, this was more like me and my brother kind of a dynamic. This was an
actual dynamic that made sense.
Right.
This movie isn't terrible.
It's not terrible.
No. They've got at least a good handle on
the story is super boring.
It's really boring. Not a lot happens, but we're not annoyed by how no family acts like this, or just stuff like that.
Straight up enjoyed it.
Okay.
Well, compared.
Yeah, compared. Absolutely.
That's always what I mean.
That's true. Okay, but anyway, he's really stubborn, and she's like, I just want to take care of you, and he's like, no, you can't. She's like, all right, fine. Why don't you I'll just call you a butthead next time I see you, or something like that. She's like, all
right, poop face.
Yeah, I'll just trip you when you're walking by next time. Which is, again, a dynamic that would make some sense.
My brother and I are solidly in our 30s. We still interact like this.
Exactly. And we get a montage of his physical therapy, and he eventually heads back to school, and he continues to develop his obvious and mutual crush on his friend, Annie, who offers to help him catch up on all the schooling. She's real cute, and he's, cute enough, and they're kind of into each other very much. I can see
how an urban person, or a rural person would find him attractive. He has very large teeth. He has what my friend would call politician teeth.
He does have big teeth. He's got better or work teeth.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a good-looking enough guy. He's got nice eyes.
He is symmetrical.
That's
all that's required.
And she's tall. And she's cute enough. So.
She's super cute, yeah.
She's super cute. So they're gonna get the thing. And, every conversation, every sentence...
I like their dynamic, too.
Every sentence they have sort of ends, lingeringly.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's gonna kiss who first?
Yeah, they're super cutesy, but not in an annoying way. And they're another well-written,
It's not super on the nose, even though it's very on the nose.
Yes.
Because some relationships are like that.
Yeah.
It's just how it works sometimes.
True.
People can be attracted to each other. It's life.
Although it is kind of weird that when we first get introduced to her, it's because he's pointing out how she's grown up. So I guess he's used to her being very young.
Yeah.
Because I guess she's a couple years younger, which doesn't matter in high school. But if you're like, last time I saw you, you were a child. Now you're hot.
I don't know. If she might be a year younger.
Maybe.
Because she says she's a sophomore now.
Yeah.
I think he implies
he's a senior.
No, his sister's older than him.
No, his sister's younger than him.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
How?
Well, because she is.
She mentioned she's 18 in the movie.
Does she?
Yeah. She's got to be the older one.
How is she the old? How did I?
She's...
I mean, it would be like me and my brother. I always looked younger than him because I'm a full foot shorter.
Mm-hmm. I'm relatively certain she's the older one.
Huh.
And then, because she's 18, so that would make her a senior.
Yeah.
He's...
I guess a junior.
Either her age, Annie's age, or a year older. So he's either a sophomore or a junior.
I think he's older than her because she's like, well, I'm a sophomore now. If they had grown up, if they had been the same.
Me too.
No.
But I could be wrong.
No,
I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
But the point is, she got taller.
Right.
And she's a full-fledged woman now.
She's a fox. Yeah.
It's weird to say the high school people.
It really, really is.
But for his age, it's appropriate, so it's okay.
Exactly.
All right, but anyway, she's going to help him up on the schooling, and we also get a view at home where the parents are completely swamped with medical bills. Because getting sick in America is a literal nightmare.
It is. It ruins your entire life.
They get calls from bill collectors. She argues all the time. She's fighting about it. They took a look at their bills and they're just like, hey, guess what? We're fucked!
We have to sell everything. We don't have a farm anymore.
And Dad's like, hey, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it all. We've got 2 cows coming up and they're gonna be born. We're gonna have $5,000 there.
Yeah.
And apparently that's not enough to pay your medical bills because America is a hellhole. There's no reason why you have a job, a profitable job that you can make money off of, and then you get another $5,000 and that barely puts a dent in your medical debt.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yes, it is fucking
Which
crazy.
is why Hillary says this is a 90-minute ad for universal health care.
Yes,
because this is crazy. All right, but the next scene, Hoovey apologizes to his mom for causing all this trouble. And his mom tells him, fuck his sorry. Even if they have to raise him up from baby levels, dumb babies where you can't walk or anything,
right.
You're going to do that, and it's totally worth it, and you shut your face and you accept it. No more sorries from you, mister.
Mm-hmm.
I paraphrase a lot of that, but it's more or less
basically,
accurate.
yes.
Yeah. And so he feels touched, because Mom's like, everything was worth it, and you're alive, you stupid bitch. So Hoovey goes to Coach and tells him that he intends to get back on the team, eventually. And Coach points out that he was never not on the team. He offers him a position coaching in the meantime.
Yeah.
So he can coach the team too.
I like Coach a lot.
Yeah. And then he's like, pick your days tomorrow. Your uniform's in your locker. Because he did put him on the team.
It's so cute.
He was sick, not bad.
He's going to play with his little cane
yeah.
in his one eye.
That adjusts, switches back.
Yeah. I've seen that before too. People getting eye surgery.
I like his explanation of it was like, I have to switch every 8 hours. Otherwise, my eyes will just stop.
Or they'll go every which way or something like that.
I think he literally said, he'll go blind.
Yeah.
He implied it, at least.
Yeah. It was pretty
He said
funny.
if they don't get aligned this way every 8 hours, they'll just stop working. It's like, Jesus. Brain surgery is a nightmare. Not as much of a nightmare as getting sick in America, but still pretty bad.
Up there.
Yeah.
Up there. I think they overlap.
All right, so the Rents are still dealing with money problems, and Daddy Warburton is working 6 jobs to make it happen. He literally mentions, he's like, I'm going to go to work.
Yep.
Or, no.
He has a pizza. He's a pizza delivery guy.
He's going to deliver some pizzas. He's going to help move some pipes or do some pipes.
Yeah.
He's going to...
He's doing hard labor type stuff.
He's doing hard labor until his back gives out.
Construction. And firefighting.
And then he's going to go on shift at the firehouse.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, man. And because, again, his son almost died, so he owes an insane amount of money to people who had nothing to do with it.
Thank God.
Cool. America's great. Cool. Mm-hmm. It's much better this way.
Praise the Lord.
In Canada, if you hurt your foot and it's unknown exactly what you did and you can walk and everything, they don't prioritize you.
Yeah.
That's a real hellhole. This is a much better system.
Yep, you have to wait a little longer if you're not dying.
If you're okay.
If you're not actively dying, you just have to wait a little bit longer.
Oh boy. How are you supposed to deal with that?
Ugh, not worth it.
It's ridiculous.
Just give me bills I'm going to ignore. That's what I'm going to do.
If you make up a medical problem and go to Canada, and they can't figure out what's wrong with you, they stop prioritizing it. But you didn't pay a dime to actually get seen by 3 doctors.
I would absolutely get so many things checked out.
But they can't figure out your fake problem. These doctors are horrible. Just want to be clear.
Yeah, I know.
That's the real problem.
I'm exhausted by it.
At practice, Donovan is having a really hard time learning teamwork, and Hoovey tries to coach him through it, but that just pisses Donovan off instead. Mom goes to the bank to try to mortgage their home, but she can't, because it won't even come close to paying what they owe in medical bills. Because despite having a good enough life to have a nice big farm and a nice big plot of land, getting sick one time will financially ruin you in the best country in the world.
Yep. First world country.
They literally have their life set.
Yeah.
And they can't afford to pay off these medical bills. What are you and I going to do?
I'm just going to kill myself. I've always said
Those
it.
are options.
I genuinely don't care.
If you get genuinely sick, you're fucked forever.
Right. Or actually just, I'm going to do what one of my buddies does and just pretend there is no medical debt. Just no. I'm like, that's never going to get paid.
I will pay you $1 a month forever.
Good luck squeezing this stone.
But in the next scene, Hoovey and Dad go fishing, and Dad finally reveals the awful truth to Hoovey. You can't play basketball anymore, son. So Hoovey goes to the real coach, and he tells him that he can't coach anymore because being around all this game and stuff is killing him. He's just like, I can't do it. Yeah. I'm never going to play again. It just hurts me. So the coach gives Hoovey the story of Job. As though he's supposed to feel better, hearing the story about how God and the devil conspired to torture a man, only forgot to tell him to fuck off when he finally complained. Because he literally ruined his farm, ruined his land, killed his children, took everything from him,
and then was
his wife, I'm pretty
mad
sure.
at him.
And then Job is like, hey man, what the hell?
Yeah.
And God's like, oh yeah? Oh, fuck you.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And this is supposed to make Hoovey feel better. But somehow this does seem to help in a way I truly don't understand.
I do not understand at all how this could help anybody.
And it's a really strange non sequitur of an entire scene.
Right.
Because Hoovey's like, oh yeah, that feels... Okay, cool.
Yes, I just have to keep having faith.
They literally, the epiphany of the scene is Hoovey says, but Job didn't do anything wrong. And the coach says, neither did you.
Yeah, I actually do not know what this means.
And I'm like, I am in the audience. I'm like, yeah, I know.
So do they both deserve it? Or they should...
Like
bootstraps? I don't
sometimes
know.
God just almost kills you with a brain tumor and you gotta get used to it.
You just have to be okay with it.
It's not helpful.
No.
I didn't find it helpful.
It's not. Nope. Okay. Very confusing.
But the point is, this makes Hoovey feel better. And then Dad gifts his daughter a car, just like he did kind of promise earlier in the movie. Mm-hmm. And honestly, this movie is at this point a series of scenes, but not really about anything happening.
No, it's true.
And I'm really proud of Dad because he managed to get her a car despite the fact that they are deeply, deeply, deeply in debt.
They have negative billions of dollars, and she has a new Jeep.
Here's a Jeep.
Yeah.
It's a nice Jeep, and she made
That was my dream car at that age.
Yeah.
I still want a Jeep.
Yeah. But, nothing's really happening. And then Dad gives Hoovey a little speech when he gets home about how faith is intended to illustrate... Sorry. It's about faith, and it's intended to illustrate...
What is happening to your face?
I burped. And then when Dad gets home after this Jeep scene, he gives Hoovey a little speech about faith. And the speech is apparently intended to illustrate how important faith is. Mm-hmm. And he tells Hoovey that Hoovey's not the one that's been lacking faith recently. It's been me. It's been Dad.
Oh, it's Dad's fault. God's punishing them.
So we begin a new montage of Hoovey's new physical therapy with Dad helping. And it primarily consists of Hoovey walking in a straight line. Mm-hmm. And Sister runs a race, and she seems to win. And then Hoovey and Annie, the cute girl, catch up on their studies, and then they make eyes at each other. Mm-hmm. And then eventually they swooch each other. That's all.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Montage.
And the montage ends with Hoovey rushing into his parents' room and telling them he can see, which is pretty good.
That is exciting.
It's just like, fuck yeah, look at this. Both eyes.
Look at that. I can see you. There you are.
And then him and Annie get together, and then he's going to go out for the team, the basketball team, despite the fact that he's not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
He and Donovan do pretty well playing each other.
Like a helmet or something he can get, like a medical helmet?
Yeah.
Just for sports.
Like I'm sure you could get an exception.
Right.
Because basketball's not the game where you get hit in the head a lot, so they just be like, can I wear a helmet? Be like, yeah.
Right. He's not he's not going out for the football team. Yeah. I mean, it is very physical and the elbows are fucking everywhere.
Theoretically, it would be, okay.
Not he doesn't need a football helmet, but you know how they make those ones where it can be a helmet just for one area.
Even a baseball helmet would work.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want anything that's that hard because it's a detriment to the other faces around him, but...
But even then, you don't make a lot of head-to-head contact, so it's not really going to be,
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just saying, it seems like he could wear a helmet.
I feel like that, too.
And anybody who's it's not in the rules to wear a helmet, be like, maybe you should let the kid with the major brain damage.
Right.
Just wear a helmet. It's not regulation.
The man's name is Hoovey.
His name is Hoovey.
Give Hoovey a helmet.
But he and Donovan play each other, real hard, and they're, pushing each other. But at the end of the day, Donovan is presumably alone without Hoovey. And he talks mad shit about Hoovey being a charity case that's just going to hold the whole team back. Mm-hmm. But Hoovey is here, and he was listening. And he challenges Donovan to a basketball duel. And it's unclear if they were supposed to fight or play basketball.
It was basketball, but it was presented like this major thing.
And he's like, why don't you just go? You want to go? Let's go, bro. And so, I'm like, is Donovan supposed to hit him? Or is he supposed to play basketball with him?
Yeah, I think they're going to spar on the court.
Yeah. But eventually, either way, Donovan backs down. And Hoovey, everybody's like, oh, you stood up to him. And he's like, shut up, guys. We're trying to get along here. Sorry, Molly. It's like, shut up, guys. We're trying to get along here. We're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be teammates. So he goes outside to make amends with Donovan. And he apologizes for challenging him in front of everybody. He's like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I should have just let you talk mad shit about me for no reason.
Right.
That's what a good Christian man would do. Never stand up for yourself. Because he didn't do anything. He literally was like, hey, I know. I'm doing my best.
Right.
And if you want to prove it, I'll play you in basketball. The thing you're complaining about.
Right.
That's not a thing that you can't do. That's just reasonable.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Sorry. But for his own part, Donovan is sorry about what happened to Hoovey. But he can't afford to let Hoovey screw up his one shot at getting out of this hick town. Because if Hoovey goes down, the whole team goes down. And Donovan loses his one chance. And Hoovey asks why he's even in this town, considering that he hates it so much. Mm-hmm. And Donovan was involved in some sort of trouble in the hellscape that is Atlanta.
Yes.
And someone got killed. Now, of course, he didn't do it. But he didn't stop it either. So he left, and he's stuck here until he can play his way out of Normal, Illinois.
Yeah, we didn't mention that yet.
The town's called Normal.
It is actually called Normal.
So Hoovey tells him that they both want the same thing. So he'll see you tomorrow, and they'll go again, all the way, as hard as you want.
Yeah, I really wish they had made out at this scene. They had some chemistry.
This is literally the dialogue.
Yes.
We'll go again, as hard as you want.
Yep.
Donovan's like, look forward to it.
Yeah.
Bites his lip, and he kisses Hoovey's forehead.
You know, in Atlanta, this is legal.
Just in Atlanta, though, not the rest of Georgia.
Just Atlanta.
But while at work, Dad gets a call from Mom about how Hoovey's tumor has apparently returned. And it's unclear exactly how bad it is. But doctor's talking about it. And it's like, it's a little bit, it might be fine, but we're going to check on it. Mm-hmm. And they tell the doctor that Hoovey was going to play basketball again.
And the doctor's like, son of a bitch.
The doctor literally has that face that he has where he's just like... And so they have a conversation about it. And they're like, so, what do you think? And his literal response is, to be honest, I'm surprised we're even having this conversation. I thought it was pretty clear.
Yeah.
He can't play because he might
here's
die.
the thing. He can play, but
Yes.
he's suiciding. That's a suicide.
Right. He can't play in the sort of game where you might fall down.
Right.
On your head.
If he's
And basketball is.
okay with dying, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I can't stop you.
Right.
But basically that happens, and the stress finally begins to have obvious signs on the family because the parents are fighting now, and Dad has a scene asking Mom where he managed to screw up, because we haven't gone over a lot of the details. Mm-hmm. But basically, this whole speech is about how everything in the last year has gone wrong, and they're going to end up destitute because they had those 2 fowls that were supposed to be born so they could sell them. Mm-hmm. They died. They miscarried. Their septic tank went out, so they need a new one. Mm-hmm. He got that girl a Jeep. I don't think he mentioned it, but that is definitely not helping.
Yeah.
They lost a bunch of other animals.
Everything's wrong.
Just literally everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. There was like a fire or something.
Right.
Like shit's gone way
There was a fire.
And he's like, I'm doing my best, but like shit's just go. We're being jobed. But she assures him that he hasn't screwed anything up and things have just gone wrong and they still have their family. And it's funny because she ends up being the one who's crying, and she says that she just wants to know why God is putting them through all of this. And again, it is the Job story. We're supposed to see the parallel. Mm-hmm. But of course, God also killed Job's kids, and so we're still supposed to find it really inspirational to compare yourself to Job.
Right.
But hey, he got new kids, so like, no big. That's literally how the story is.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, well, he got a new farm and new family and new kids, so like...
Right.
We're even, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, if you've killed my children, we're never even. It's just not going to happen. There's no chance. I named him.
Yeah. He's Job the Satanist now.
Alright, so another montage shows the family adapting to their new shitty circumstances, and Hoovey ends up giving a speech about how he wants to try basketball despite all the risks. But he's not going to go against his mom. He says, hey mom, it's up to you. So of course he needs her blessing, and she immediately caves and tells him to follow his dream. So there's 20 minutes to go.
So now it's her fault if he dies.
So now there's 20 minutes to go, and we're fast forward 3 months. And it's the big game of indeterminate import, but the team is taking on their rivals, with Hoovey playing in his first game since his tumor, I think. Seems like it. I don't
know. Seems like it.
But everyone is here to support him. The place is full, because again, it's a small town, and no one has anything happening except basketball.
Right.
And even his doctor, who still seems both impressed and annoyed that Hoovey is playing, is there to help. To support him, at least.
He has his medical bag under his seat.
It could just be the guy's face, where he always looks like that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's just like, fine, I'll go to the game. And so basketball happens all over the place, and the game itself goes reasonably well, at least as a piece of media. We've seen some sportsing in movies, and it's often been really embarrassing for everyone.
Yes, that's true. This is good.
And it's not completely boring, which is better than a lot of the other stuff we've done. Mm-hmm. And the game is basically incredibly close. It's almost tied the whole time. And going into the second half, our home team, Hoovey's team, is only down by 2 points. So let's do some basketball play-by-play.
Okay.
Hoovey gives some coaching to the boys. Coach gives some coaching to the boys, and he asks Hoovey to give them the go-home speech. But Hoovey says he wants Donovan to do it. So Donovan is surprised for a second, but he gives his best shot. And he basically talks about how he finally feels like he's been part of a proper team, this team. It's like, I've been having it's never felt this way, but I'm ready to do it. So we're going to go out there, we're going to work together, we're going to win. Because Donovan is a good guy after all.
He is a good guy.
After they had a heart-to-heart. He was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, with this new budding romance.
So Dad is very nervous for Hoovey, of course, especially because one of the other players has been really rough with him so far. He's been pushing him and like...
Oh, yeah, number 12.
Yeah, number 12 has been a real dick.
That fucking guy.
But Hoovey's going to do his best to stop number 12 because they seem to be counterparts.
Yeah, they're playing...
The same position, probably.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What is it? It's,
I think they're both guards. Whatever, he keeps getting in Hoovey's zone. Point is.
Right.
So they keep having little conflicts, and either way, this guy's really an aggressive player, which is bad because Hoovey obviously could die.
Right.
So...
He has a baby skull.
We get to the fourth quarter, and our home team is beginning to fall apart, and they're now down by a whole 10 points. And with only 4 minutes to go, Hoovey and Donovan begin finally working as a real pair, they've really got they're in sync now, and they begin to catch up again. And this frustrates number 12, who is already being a bit rough. So he now, pretty unabashedly, not even tries to make it look like an accident, just pushes Hoovey to the ground.
Right.
Now, he doesn't fall on his head, but he definitely hits the ground ass first.
Yeah.
And everyone gets up, because they're like, what the fuck?
Like,
and again, if he hits his head, he can die.
You know, some people in that crowd was just there to see a murder.
Absolutely.
Like, they're like, I just gotta see how this ends.
But Hoovey gets his... Oh, actually, before that, in response, Donovan almost starts a fight because he tells that guy, if he hits Hoovey again, I'm gonna break your jaw.
Yeah, I love that.
It's like, you touch him again, I break your jaw. I was like, you know what? I like Donovan.
Yes, go Donovan. I like everybody.
And so Hoovey ties up the game because he made some free throws. And so now there's only 1 minute of game left, and Hoovey gets benched. One, because the coach is nervous for him, because this guy keeps pushing him and shoving him, and now has knocked him on his ass.
Right.
And two, Hoovey is tired.
Yeah.
He's been playing this whole game, and he's just like, look, man, I'm so tired. But he asked coach to just call a timeout instead, because just give him a breather. I can go back in. We're good. But looking at Hoovey's parents and the doctor next to them, the doctor just goes, mm-mm.
Yeah.
And so coach refuses to put Hoovey back in the game. He thinks the rest of the team can handle it, especially because Donovan is still in. But this is a movie, so of course things go south and Hoovey's needed. He and Mom convince coach to let him back in. So with 45 seconds on the clock and the team down by 5 again, which means the other team scored 5 points in 15 seconds.
Yes.
They have to catch up. So he and Donovan intend to work together as one. And they do just that to bring the game within 3 points. And then Hoovey manages to launch a 3-point shot, just as the aggressive guy, number 12, knocks him down on his head. And this is the scene from the first scene.
Right, which was a flash forward.
Right. Where he falls on his head this time, and he hits his head. Now, obviously everybody stands up. Everybody, You can hear the breath leave the room because he's fallen on his head again. And everyone's like, oh shit. And his dad jumps the 6 levels of bleachers he's on, and he jumps down by Hoovey, and he's like, Hoovey. And Hoovey opens his eyes, and he goes, did I make it? And he did make it. He's tied the game.
He's the hero.
There are 0 seconds left in the game, by the way. He shot just as the buzzer, just the perfect, movie scenario.
Right.
He shot just as the buzzer hit, and then he hit his head. He made the shot, so it's tied. And now, because he was fouled, he gets free throws.
Yes.
At least one.
He has a technical foul, right?
I don't even know. Is blatant foul an option? Because, again, this time he basically grabbed his neck and shoved him down.
Right.
He was trying to kill him.
That could have been attempted murder.
If he died, honestly, he probably would have been charged, and he should have, because he shoved him to the ground.
Yes.
But yeah, so the clock is at 0, so they can either go into overtime, because they will, or if he makes this, they just win the game.
Yep.
At the very last possible second, that is 0 seconds.
Great.
So, of course, he makes it really easily, and the game is won, and everyone gathers around the glorious Hoovey, and even Donovan congratulates him for his work here. And it's over. And the credits tell us the true story behind the movie, mostly through newspaper headlines. But we also see real Hoovey and his real family, his real sister,
real
who has
hospital
3 kids.
pics. Yeah.
Real what?
Hospital pics.
Yeah. And the real Hoovey did manage to actually get a basketball scholarship to college. And his parents turned their finances around, too, by becoming supplement sellers.
Right.
And now his mom is a motivational speaker.
I guess they started a pyramid scheme?
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too.
They work for vitamin supplements.
A multi-level marketing.
But hey, they got money, so whatever. Everyone,
do what you gotta do. Hustle.
I respect the hustle. So let's talk about the best, and let's talk about the worst, because we're done.
Okay.
What's the best?
That was actually not a terrible movie. It was enjoyable to a certain degree. I liked all the actors in it.
Yeah.
They did a great job. The characters are actually somewhat developed to where the relationships make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably is the best. I also think the best because the girl from Mike's Super Short Show is my favorite girl of all girls. She's the best.
She's great.
And it's just weird
She was
seeing
great
her.
in it.
It's weird seeing her as an adult. Mm-hmm. I still can't really reconcile that.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Great. Worst.
Just the fact that it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
The Job stuff
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
I don't feel inspired, I can tell you
It's
that.
not inspiring at all.
No.
And like the scene where he goes in, he's like,
The most inspiring thing is how hard the parents work.
right.
Yeah.
Like Daddy Warburton is really working his ass off.
For real.
But like the constant parallels to Job as though this is supposed to be inspirational is very strange to me.
I agree.
I know that religious people tend to find the Job story inspirational. I truly don't understand how. It's the worst story.
Which explains
terrible
why
story.
religious people exist and we exist. And we don't understand them.
It is an awful, awful story about God ruining a man's life.
Being a cunt.
Yeah. And then when the guy's like, hey man, like, can I get a break? God's like, you don't deserve a goddamn thing. Fuck you. And then Job apologizes.
Yeah, that's an abusive relationship.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. All right, so that's the worst part. It's just the Job parallels. So let's talk about some things that are like this that you should watch instead of this, or maybe alongside with this, because this isn't that bad.
It's not that bad.
If you have to watch it at your grandma's house
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving, you could do a lot worse. We've talked about a lot worse.
We have definitely lived through a lot worse.
So what do you think people should watch?
People should watch Three Ninjas.
People should watch Air Bud.
I don't like dog movies.
I don't.
As a person who loves dogs more than humans, I don't like dog movies.
That's fair. But Air Bud is an exception because it's Air Bud. It's a dog that plays basketball. Just
Yeah.
like Hoovey.
It's Golden Retriever too, just like your new buddy.
My new friend. All right, but that's it. It's got a cute dog in it. It's about basketball. So,
Yeah. Watch
Air Bud.
any sports movies from the 90s. They were
That's
all
right.
great.
but Three Ninjas is good too. It's got basketball in it.
It does have basketball in it.
And a major plot point. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about what we're doing next week.
What are we doing next week, Josh? We are doing the Creation Museum. We're not
Yes,
going.
we're not going.
to the. Okay, good.
We're doing a virtual tour.
Oh no. Okay.
And it's going to be a lot less information. But, okay, I would argue that you don't get any information in the Creation Museum anyway.
Right.
So it's okay that we don't get the information. There's nothing to parse through. Because
Right.
it's all bullshit anyway.
And we don't have to give them money.
Exactly. Because, and we'll talk about this next week, I almost went.
I did know that.
Yeah, you did know that. But I didn't.
I'm glad you didn't.
I know, me too. But instead of that, I'm going to talk about it like I was supposed to.
Okay.
Except I'll talk about it without having actually gone.
Gotcha. We're
But
just gonna make this shit up.
The founder and guy who runs the place gives us this tour. He has a whole thing. He talks about all the parts.
Right.
So, like, really, it's his fault if there's not enough in there to convince us to even show up.
Agreed. I like that. Good spin.
I'm good at spin sometimes. And everyone remember, if you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast app or service you are using, and tell your friends about us any way that you can, because we need the attention. If you don't have any friends, tell something else. Tell your basketball playing dog.
Yeah. Tell Bud.
Tell Bud. Oh, Bud. Links to everything are in the description of this episode, and that includes an email address to which you can send comments or questions. As always, thank you so much for listening. This episode is really short, and I love it.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for making it so easy.
Oh, best.
Bye.
Bye.